Hey guys, welcome to Gate.ai Twitter Space. In the next few minutes, we'll be getting started. Let me just tweet this Twitter Space out on our Twitter channel, and then we'll see pretty good number of people joining in our Twitter Space. Hey Mike, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you. Hey,
Perfect.
everyone.
That's great. Let's wait for a few more minutes. I can see already a lot of people have requested to be the speaker, but guys, we have to wait for another like 30 minutes so that you guys can ask us question. The Q&A session will be happening at the later part of this Twitter session. So yes. So Micah, are you ready? Shall we go?
Yes, let's do it.
Perfect. So hey guys, welcome to Gate.ai Twitter Space. Today we have Micah Honkasalo. He's the founder of Access Protocol, and it's a pleasure to have you, Micah, in this Twitter Space.
Great to be here and happy to answer community questions.
Uh-huh. And guys, just to give a slight overview on the Access Protocol project, it's a crypto project that focuses on monetizing the content in the Web3 space. But yes, I think Micah is far more, eligible person than me to explain you more about the Access Protocol. So yes, without spending any extra more minutes, let's get started with this Twitter space. And my first question to you, Micah, is like, what are the challenges for the media monetization today? Like, creators and user relationships are value extractive, making users unwilling to pay for the standard subscriptions. So yeah, do let us know about the challenges that you face today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think our project is a good example of really kind of using crypto to tackle a problem that people kind of know exists. I think people on the periphery may be quite familiar just with the fact that that um, media monetization is kind of broke and media businesses haven't been doing well. Um, and that the regular consumer subscriptions don't really convert. So even if you look at something like the Atlantic or Bloomberg or one of these really big names, even they convert on their kind of B2C subscription model only like a 0.5% or 0.3% of their entire audience. Um, so people just don't really want to pay for subscriptions and they don't find enough value in it. And people kind of get like also tired of multiple subscriptions and being able to manage those, and often the publishers can be a little bit parasitic where, for example, a New York Times subscription, I think you have to call a number to unsubscribe and things like that. So it's a bit of a weird dynamic overall, and really what we're trying to do is change that. So instead of kind of like a normal subscription model where you pay, let's say, $9.99 a month to get access to content, here instead you get ACS tokens and you lock them to a specific creator. And what this model does is essentially you subscribe to things by owning a part of the Access Protocol, Access ecosystem, and like our entire network by owning a portion of the tokens. And that basically means that the subscription model is one where instead of just being purely value extractive where you pay for things, although there's like an indirect payment that happens, it's also one where you benefit from the growth of our ecosystem. So you can think that, okay, if we're able to bring on all these great creators and publishers onto the platform, your ACS tokens go further in the future and you're able to subscribe to more things than you are today.
Got it. Actually, that's quite a good explanation, about the challenges that we are facing in the media monetization today. But yes, I mean, where exactly do you come in? Like, what is Access Protocol trying to solve in this Web3 space?
Yeah, so really what we're trying to solve is making that subscription more enticing in a way where both the users feel like they're more likely to subscribe to things and the publishers are able to generate more revenue than they do of the existing model. And I think this is really only possible with like crypto, because crypto really redefines like ownership in a way and allows people to own like more kind of like interesting stuff and be a part of communities early. And I think like ours is a perfect example of that, where you can like imagine this type of model, but if you look at kind of the success that we're already having, for example, through like our airdrop campaign with CoinGecko, they were able to add their like existing premium newsletter. Gecko Ramblings had 1,000 users, and I think now they're like 100,000. So clearly, this has like shown that okay, this is a model where people are more likely to subscribe and do feel like they might be getting more value out of it. So I think it's still early days, but we're on our way to really proving out the model and applying it into different areas.
That's great. And actually, I've noticed one thing that there are a lot of type of creators in the digital world today, right? And we might be having a lot of creators in this Twitter space as well. So yeah, and they might be interested to work with you. So for their benefit, and if to solve their queries, I would just like to ask you, like, what kind of creators does Access Protocol work with nowadays?
Absolutely. So our go-to market has been a bit more with these kind of bigger publisher type of names. So this is the Block, CoinGecko, who have like the furthest along in their integrations, but also Crypto Slate, for example, will have theirs live in a month or so, and we also have AB Media, Wu Blockchain, and others on the platform. So we're a go-to market. We're really looking at like these publishers who are a bit bigger, and that's really just the very convenient way for us to get in front of millions of people already at our launch, where Access Protocol is exposed to kind of millions of monthly actives, and we just have to be able to convert. But looking forward, really, we want to expand a lot from that, where we're working, for example, on Access Scribe. So our first product, Access Publisher, is the kind of thing that you see on, for example, the block.co, where it's a paywall on their site. And that's meant for like more publications and media organizations. But Access Scribe, which we're working on now, should be ready in a month or two, is our individual content creator platform, which you can think of kind of like a Substack and Medium, except it allows you to put the Access paywall on top. Also, this week we're announcing our Discord product, which will be basically like gated Discord access as well. So that opens up kind of a new group. We're doing like a guarded launch in a way right now to the protocol. Eventually, the protocol will be fully permissionless, but just to sort of test everything out and make sure everything's good, we have a guarded launch. So now we're onboarding partners. And yeah, we're if you go to accessprotocol.co, you can find a way to apply, and we're just slowly bringing on the first partners before we open it up really for all kinds of creators to join. But now already we've jumped to having NFT artists. Peach, we just added them on the platform last
Mm-hmm.
week, and that's been actually really popular. So it's something that we're going to push forwards a lot more in the coming weeks.
That's great. Actually, when I first introduced you in this Twitter space, I said that, you are monetizing the content in the Web3 space. So now that, we are talking about monetization, obviously we talk about money. And when we talk about money, we talk about revenue. And when we talk about revenue, it just makes me really interested to know how exactly our users and creators are incentivized, to use your platform.
Yeah, so there's really two things to consider. The first one is that there's kind of this perpetual inflation rate in the protocol, which gets split 50-50 between the creator and the user. And you can think of that as kind of the constant revenue stream that the creator side is getting. And also from the user side, it sort of incentivizes you to lock your tokens to a particular creator and like not just speculate on a token, because otherwise you'd get diluted by not receiving a portion of those inflation rewards. I should point out that we have a 2% protocol fee, that's taken when you lock your tokens into a pool. So that counteracts the kind of inflation, and you can calculate that. Okay, if on average our users even do a couple of transactions per year uh, where they go into a pool and lock their tokens, that already offsets the entire inflation amount. So that's meant to like keep the token economics healthy, but also sort of from the UX point, make sure that you can't just hop in and out of pools and download content, but you have to kind of make a little bit of a subscription method that, okay, what do I want to subscribe to? But also, if you kind of want to get out of your subscription, it's not prohibitive because it's just a kind of 2% fee, and you can get rid of your ACS tokens or jump into another pool or whatever.
Got it. But actually, there has always been a tug of war in the Web3 space between, using a simple token or an NFT. So yeah, I mean, I just really want to ask you this question, like, why are you using a token instead of NFT, or for that matter, even, you can use creator tokens as well?
Yeah, I think this comes from really mine and some of the founding teams' background in we worked at the block and understand like the digital media space, and there we actually did, for example, have crypto payments, and NFTs are one variation of that, and uh, and um, NFTs are one variation of that, and really the problem we ran into is that those tend to have horrible churn rates, those subscriptions where um, like because blockchains are kind of like enable push payments, and credit cards really are kind of better in a way where you can hit that credit card for like recurring revenue. It actually turned out that a lot of the publishers we're working with, when they started accepting crypto payments, they didn't like it at all because they're not getting that recurring revenue. So they actually flipped out back into the traditional payments and prefer that. So we actually tell most of our customers that if like if you're thinking about crypto payments just in a regular way where it's like sending USDC, or maybe you do an NFT that gets you gated access to content, you're actually probably better off doing the revenue via the traditional model. So really that we did notice from experience that that was a total no-go, because what matters is getting great publishers online, getting creators to do things, and for them that means that you need to make the monetization make sense for them, and that's why kind of you haven't really seen these existing crypto kind of payments really take off. For like if you just go to like any website, right, like the block or whatever, why don't you have crypto payments? That is the answer. There is like a logical history behind that.
Perfect. But yeah, thank you for answering all the queries that I had for your project. But I think we should now be moving to the audience so that they can ask you questions. And actually, I've made a couple of people as the speaker, and I think we should start with the bull. Yeah. Hey, bull. Sorry, the bull. You can ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity. My question, I just want to know, like, how secure is this project? Like, what are the criteria can you give a new Bitcoin to your project that this is actually true? So can you just tell me, like, what are some security mechanisms have you put in place to ensure that this project will be sustainable in the long run?
Yes, I think the question was around sustainability and security. I think from
Mm-hmm.
the sustainability on the token economic side, like really it's we have this perpetual inflation, but that just needs to be counteracted by user activity on the platform. And we think as especially as we bring on more creators, it sort of gets even better because there are more things to do in the ecosystem. So it means that there are more of these ACS locking transactions to creators, which means that the protocol fee takes sort of over the inflation quite well. So we think that that mechanism will work for us long term. In terms of security, the contracts have been audited 2 times actually by Halborn, and we're actually engaging also for another audit. So we're kind of like uh, constantly evaluating like our own security and want to do the best as possible. I think if you look at kind of it's obviously impossible to make sure that everything is 100% secure in crypto, but I think the best we can do is have these like really good auditors like Halborn work on our protocol and give us feedback. And also, if you look at kind of the recent security issues people have been having. It's a lot about very complex attacks around economic security and DeFi protocols that are maybe a bit more difficult to reason about, versus we try to keep the protocol quite simple, which is that, okay, there are these creator pools, there's this inflation, there are these locking and unlocking transactions and that sort of thing, but it's not really that complex of a protocol, and we hope that can be a good thing keeping us secure.
Wow. All right. Thank you very much for answering my question. Thank you.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you, Bull, for asking the question. And now let's move to the Angel. Hey, Angel, you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Mhm.
I went through the website now, and I saw the what's it called? The information about the project was written in Chinese language. Please, is it that this thing is it meant this project is meant for the people in China, or I don't know, is there anything like geographical restriction for the rest? And also I also saw that your this thing your project support NFT. Like, I don't know, can you tell us about this NFT and what's the purpose behind it? Thank you. I don't know if you get my
Yeah,
question well.
yeah, I think I got the question. Thank you for it. So first, I would say that we do have a focus on like the Asian market. In a sense, we've seen a lot of interest from publishers and creators from that side. So we'll definitely be like creating content and also just getting sort of users and publishers and creators from that area. So that's definitely a focus for us. Um, and then your second question about NFTs is that's a good question, actually. So we kind of think of Access as the base layer protocol of monetization. And while I was criticizing like NFT type of activity, so one case study we use is that Time Magazine, for example, did a really successful NFT launch, but it was successful only kind of monetarily, where they made a lot of money off their NFT drop, but they actually only hit 4,700 users with that. So that's out of 50 million of monthly active users that Time Magazine has. So it was successful in terms of money, but it wasn't successful in terms of like audience, and like audience penetration and like creating a relationship with a lot of people on chain. It was just 4,000 people, right? So what we think of is Access is kind of like the base layer where you want to get more of these subscriptions. Maybe they're not quite as high value as this kind of NFT drop, but you create this on-chain relationship with a lot of users. And then what we're building towards is on top, you can layer like these value add strategies like NFTs, and then you can sort of get the best of both worlds. So that's how kind of how we're thinking about it.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the answer.
That's great. Thank you, Angel, for asking the question. And now let's move to Frankie. Hey, Frankie, can you hear me?
Hello, sir.
Perfect. So you can ask a question.
Acha. How do you plan to retain long-term investor and what are the benefits of retaining them? Are you planning to move to another blockchain in the future for launch your mainnet? This is my question, sir.
Yeah, so really our focus is on bringing more creators and creators onto the platform and creating tools for them to really use this in different ways where they're able to kind of replace their entire Web2 monetization stack with our stack. Um, and that's kind of how we want to bring on users and create value in the ecosystem, because the main thing is having creators and having different things to subscribe to that you're actually interested in subscribing, so that we have utility and really organic usage. And the more we're able to create enticing tooling for creators, the better we're able to get users. And really, this is kind of the beautiful thing, is that our distribution network isn't just us. It's like it's our partners as well, right? It's CoinGecko, it's The Block, it's Woo Blockchain, it's AB Media, it's NFT artists like Peach. So really, those publications can do a lot better job than us at acquiring users and getting the protocol out there, because they already have existing audiences with millions of users. So what we want to do is build the tooling that's good enough for them to really be able to do that. So that's kind of the path to success here.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, Frankie, for asking the question. And now let's move to Hot Pizza because you just showed us the black heart.
Hello. Thank you so much for bringing me up to ask my question. It's been an informative AMA session, I must say. So I have a couple of questions to ask. My first question is, please, can we as token holders participate in the governance of the Access Protocol project? And what mechanisms have you implemented to make sure the fairness of decision making between small and big investors? That's my first question. And my second question is, actually, you've been talking about the strength of your project. So, can you please talk about, let's say, the difficulties and challenges that maybe you are facing? And please, we would like to know how you are planning to overcome them. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So to answer the second part first, about just the challenges we're having. For example, we've been like in preliminary discussions with kind of traditional media organizations, or ones at least that are not like directly in crypto already. I think this project is kind of like easier to onboard for someone like The Block, because they have like people who understand crypto and are kind of like interested in this and would really like try a model like this. But when you talk about the kind of traditional media publications, they really need to be able to see case studies. So they need to be able to see the numbers on an Excel sheet, basically, of why this is attractive, why they can capture a new audience with this mechanism, and they need to see it like working. So really the challenges is like really building those case studies and being able to prove that this makes sense. The good part is that those media businesses, like I mentioned kind of in the beginning, they are looking for new ways to monetize. So if you're able to prove something, you probably have a good shot at like getting through the sales pipeline there. So that's definitely a challenge, and one that we're like working towards. And that also means that the protocol needs to be, or at least the tooling around the protocol needs to be much more robust than it is today, because the media monetization, there's a lot of things you need to consider. There's advertising, there's like the data you collect, there's all this kind of stuff that you're expected to, even just like analytics, reporting, all that stuff needs to be built out. So you really actually have to have like a whole ecosystem of applications and toolings around a protocol to really make it so that like a kind of a big name publisher would be able to do this. So I think that's kind of like one of the challenges that we're working towards. Then on your first question about community governance, so like I said, the protocol is very simple. So there are only like a couple of these parameters. Even one of them is kind of the protocol fee. One of them is like the inflation rate, and there's obviously the split between creators and consumers. But there really is like very few parameters overall. In the beginning, we're sort of launching them in a guarded launch where we manage them. But over time, we want those to be fully decentralized, whether that means that they're like fixed algorithmically, which is, I think, possible and probably in many cases the most elegant solution, or then something that the community takes over and is able to vote on. But we really want to like see where it goes and see kind of what the incentives of everyone is, and then see, is this best off left to the community? Is it best off like just having a bit of like math and an algorithm around it that decides it, so that it's like always provably fair? So those are the kinds of things we're wrestling with. And but eventually the protocol will be, of course, fully decentralized, where there will be nothing that's ever managed by us.
Wow, that's really wonderful. Thanks for the detailed answer, and I wish you good luck in your project.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Yeah. So now let's have the last person to ask the question. And John Ricky, you are free to ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My question is, do you have for NFT marketing in the market? Do you have long-term plans for user and investor in user and your project? And how investor and user will benefit from your project? This is my question.
Yeah, I think the answer is quite similar as I gave before, which is we're really focused on bringing creators, publications, so that there's just more things to do in our ecosystem. So if today you're able to subscribe to 7, 8, 9 different places, our goal should be in a year from now for that to be an order of magnitude higher, where there's just more things to do in the ecosystem. And once we're able to bring on more creators, those creators, each of them is a new avenue for us to get users onto the platform. So you can think the blog, for example, has millions of monthly active users. Well, now we are in front of them every single day, and it's kind of up to us to build a good enough user experience for those people to want to convert. And you can think that when we add the next creator, that's the same effect where all those users again become potential users in the Access ecosystem, and that's how we want to grow and create value here.
Perfect. So thank you, John Ricky, for asking the question, and thank you, Micah, for answering the queries of all our Twitter audience. But yeah, I mean, I think now we'll be concluding this Twitter space, and all I can say is that this has been a really amazing Twitter space, and the way you have answered the queries has been really great. And Micah, I just want to say that I hope we have more such interviews with you in the future. And yeah, it was pleasure hosting this Twitter space for you and for all the Gate.io users.
Absolutely. Great to be here and happy to be so also in the future. And thanks everyone for the great questions.
Great. See you next time. Till then, bye everyone.